We will see you Sunday right here. Canada in a cup final in hopes of ending that 23-year drought without a trophy. 2-0, Herman and Canada win.
Thank you, Gareth and Matt, on commentary at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, where Canada, Jordan Wilson, has punched their ticket to the Concacaf Nations League Finals final. Woo! The big one on Sunday. Who they will play, well, we'll find out in about an hour, so at least that's when the match will begin. We will be here with you all the way through with post-game sound from Las Vegas. We'll get Gareth and Jimmy and basically everyone in the building's thoughts on what went down, because, Jordan, it was not comfortable until that second goal. We even said as the second half was getting underway, this isn't Canada in cruise control. This isn't Canada dominating this game. They weren't playing poorly. They weren't playing fantastic. But at what point for you did they start to open up and really settle into their rhythm here on the way to the 2-0 win?
Yeah, after the second goal. I would say when fresh legs came on, look, you're looking at this Canada side. When Davies is coming off the bench, you have Atiba Hutchinson coming on, you have Hoyle coming on, Kennedy coming on. You see these guys that are subbing into a game, and they can finish it off. But you think with Canada, as the game progressed and they got their legs under them, that I felt that they were going to win. But it was a first half of what we expected, of a team that is just getting used to playing with each other again. I know there's the brotherhood, and I said in the beginning of the game we're expecting a lot, but they were just getting used to it, and you could see that they grew and they grew. But look, the quality that Jonathan David and the likes of the strikers that we have, they showed up today and they performed in a spectacular way.
Well, lots to discuss on so many players for Canada that were absolutely dominant today. But let's get the perspective from the two who are perched up high above the pitch in paradise. It's Andy Petrillo and Christian Jack who join us pitch side. Guys?
All right, well, I'm not going to lie, Adam, I can barely hear you. It's very loud here. The fans got very loud as it also started to fill up, as we know, USA-Mexico playing afterwards. KJ, lots of Mexican fans in the stands right now. They can't wait to see their team. But first, we have to talk about a team we know is going to be in the final, and that, of course, is Canada. They're that one step closer to lifting a trophy.
Yeah, it's a fantastic day. You know, ultimately, you could see they were lacked rhythm at times. You could see they're a team that haven't played together for a few months. That's international football, you know, but I thought it was a really mature performance, you know, the kind of performance where you don't break, you bend a little bit sometimes. And, you know, it didn't go well for them at the first 15 minutes of the second half. I thought Panama deserved a little bit of something out of the game at that point, but Canada were, as I said, I thought very, very, very mature, intelligent performance, knowing when to go down, break the flow up, knowing when to win a foul, knowing when to play the ball to Jonathan David, keep it at feet. Yeah, I thought it was an outstanding semi-final performance for a team that hasn't played together for a while.
Jonathan David opens up the scoring. It had to be him. I mean, he finished league third in scoring. Mbappe was ahead of him, Lacazette, and then it was Jonathan David. Great pass, too, by Kamal Miller.
Yeah, it's exactly what you want when you want Jonathan David in those positions, right? This is why the goalkeeper comes out, because he understands David is lethal from those one-touch finishes, as we talked about in the pre-game show. There's not many strikers in Concacaf who score a goal like that. Not only to be able to get that ball in position, to understand, and then understand where he can put the ball through the legs of the goalkeeper as well. So it came at a crucial time for Canada, I think. They were able to settle the nerves. It was one of those games when they couldn't have clunky starts. They had to score in the first half, I think, to be able to play the way they needed to do, make those changes, get Alistair Johnston off the pitch, get Tajon Buchanan off the pitch, manage those minutes. And it was just a really important goal on so many levels.
You did feel the energy changes Jordan alluded to there when the substitutions were made. This place erupted when Alphonso Davies was on the sideline. They knew that he was getting subbed in. He comes on in, 62nd minute, scores in the 69th minute. That just has to feel good, though, for a player who's been dealing with injury.
100% to make a difference, you know. And, you know, what I like about it is there's so much debate in Canada about where is Alphonso Davies' best position. I think now we know that Alphonso Davies and Canada are committed to playing that fullback, wing-back's position for a while. He wanted to play as an attacker. There's been some internal discussions after the World Cup that you can't always get what you want. But that goal shows you what the modern-day fullbacks can do, where you can approach the ball. Jonathan David comes off the ball, plays in a deep position, plays him in, he runs onto the ball, and then gets the ability to attack it at pace and then strike the ball through it. Not necessarily you get something you get if you play as a forward, and suddenly you've got markers all around you. So it's a great goal for him, and yeah, let's hope he starts on Sunday.
Well, now they're going to await their opponent. I mean, as I said, there are a lot of Mexican fans in the stands right now. The shakers are going, the drums are going, the dance party has already started here. So, I mean, if you're Canada, do you stick around to see?
Yes, I've spoken to them about that. I think many of them are heading back, but I certainly know some of the technical staff will want to stay here and watch the game live. We can get something a lot more out of that. Why wouldn't you do that if you can get that opportunity? But yeah, there's this is an electric atmosphere. It doesn't get much better than Mexico-US in a Concacaf game. They believe they're the Giants for a reason. One of them now is going to make it, and Canada's going to see if they can knock them off.
It was all about getting through the 90 minutes here with Panama, gentlemen. I had a chance to speak to a lot of the players during training. They didn't want to get too ahead of themselves. They knew that it was all about getting this job done first before Sunday. Well, now they're going to be playing for a trophy on Sunday. They just have to wait to find out who their opponent is. Let's get back to Gareth Wheeler now and Jimmy Brennan.
Great job, Andy, KJ. They propose a question. They know they're playing in a cup final. The two teams, well, they'll play one of them on Sunday, the U.S. and Mexico. Are you sticking around to watch live in the flesh? You've been there, done that before.
Yeah, I mean, what tends to happen is the players will end up going back to the hotel. They'll go get the recoveries and massages. Technical staff will end up staying, watching the game, scouting it live, and then they'll go back to the hotel. They'll break the game down, so the next day they'll sit down and then they'll go over exactly what they need to do tactically to win this match.
The threat tonight was, you know, the unexpected. Coming into camp, it's a short camp, it's a quick window. It's so much different than your run to winning the Gold Cup in the year 2000. Because it's really a full tournament. And then you started to come away with results, and one thing trickled into another. There goes Mexico, there goes Trinidad and Tobago. You play Colombia in a cup final. It almost was, it has to seemingly feel like a blur, but this is like stop-start. It's got kind of a much different feeling to it.
Well, it's a different feeling altogether, because when you are, for instance, in the Gold Cup, you're in a group stage. Yeah. So you can maybe lose one, you might draw one, win one, and all of a sudden now you're out. But playing one game, you've got to win it. There's no chance you can lose a game, and you've got to the final now. So this is what we all wanted to do, and this is what all players want to do, is get to a final. 20
years is a long time. Jimmy, you haven't aged one bit. The video back then, I don't think it was HD. At least we have that kind of quality here today. Andy Petrillo with a special guest pitch side. Andy, to you.
Wheels, thank you. Yes, Stephen Vittoria joining us now. You got one job done. This team, Panama, it's over. Now you can look ahead to Sunday. How does it feel once that final whistle went?
One step closer. We did a careful job with not getting ahead of ourselves. We knew it wasn't a semifinal and a final. We had two finals. The first one's down. We're going to enjoy this one just a little bit tonight and focus on in a couple nights. Half of the job's done. We're happy, we're excited, and we're ready for what's coming.
Stephen, it was a semi-final, but your team haven't played together for a number of months. It lacked rhythm a little bit, but it was a mature performance, wasn't it? Knowing when to step it up, maybe take a foul here or there, and just try and get over the line.
Yeah, we're facing a really tough country that grinds well, but I think we brought that side of us too. We were experienced. It wasn't always pretty, but I felt that we were in control for most of the game. Really happy with tonight. I think it was an overall a solid performance. We deserved the win, but we didn't win nothing yet. Giant step to where we want to go to, and exciting couple nights coming up.
What is it that you guys communicate, especially in that back line, you know, with Kamal Miller and Richie LeRae and Alistair Johnston? What is it that you say to each other to make sure you can hit the ground running, knowing that it's been a while since you played with one another?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of trust there. Communication's a big part of this group, this brotherhood, and we know that we have each other's back. We make that clear, especially in tough moments. You know, against these games are tough. They're not easy, but it was a solid performance. Showed our brotherhood once again. It wasn't perfect, but like we always said since the beginning, we want to grow with wins, and I think today we touched both those things in a positive step forward.
Last one for you, Stephen. It's been 23 years since this national team's lifted a trophy. You get that chance to do that on Sunday, either against Mexico or the United States. What does that mean to you?
It means so much. I remember that night. I remember Jason DeVos and Craig Forrest. I remember those small little boy. I remember watching that and the excitement, and now we're really close. But we're going to be careful not getting ahead of ourselves. Today was really tough. It was a final tonight. There's going to be another one in a couple nights. But we're focused and we're going to prepare. So we're ready. So our country, you know, we can continue being proud and continue pushing forward.
Great job.
The sprinklers have come on. We don't want you to take a shower out here, so we'll let you go now. Stephen Vittoria joining us here on One Soccer. Let's head back to Adam Jenkins.
Thank you.
Just in time to avoid the showers. Thank you, Stephen, Andy, and KJ for that one. Stephen missed a golden opportunity to name drop you, by the way. I remember being a little boy and watching Jason DeVos and company. There's
Jimmy's the first name?
Jimmy Brennan.
What?
Jimmy's the first name you say.
Wait till I see it. The only reason why Patrilla was saying we got to move is because she didn't want to get wet.
She didn't want to get hit by the
100%.
sprinkler. You can't blame her whatsoever. You know who moved really well, but to save the ball on Kyle Larin? That's a terrible segue. I'm trying my best here, guys. Our all-state save of the match will go to the Panamanian keeper, Orlando Mosquera. What service from Tajon Buchanan. A diving save, Jimmy. Otherwise, it would have been 2-0 much, much earlier in the half.
What a perfect ball that was. Lauren didn't even have to move. He just continued to strike. Connected perfectly, but what a save that is. Keeper make himself big, strong arm. Great save.
Jordan, if you're being denied like that, how frustrated are you as the guy heading the ball?
Hey, that's the kick on the grass for sure, and frustration right after. That's a brilliant save.
Taking a look at the full-time stats, Panama actually outshoots Canada by 9-7, more on target, 4-3, and 4% more of the ball at full-time. But Canada, they get that crucial second goal from Alphonso Davies off the bench. And in the end, it is fairly comfortable for the Canadians on the 25th goal for country from Jonathan David and the 14th from Alphonso Davies. Some strike. That was tough angle as well. We will digest it all as Matchday Live presented by CIBC continues after the break.
Match of the Week returns to Winnipeg Friday night with two teams looking to bounce back from recent defeat. Valor FC goes in search of just its second win this season, while visiting Forge FC hope to keep pace at the top of the Canadian Premier League standings.
Mack can have a goal! He does!
Will the Manitobans earn a season-changing win, or will Forge restore its winning ways?
Gives it for Hamilton, Jordan Hamilton!
The Tony Bennett Match of the Week is on one channel, One Soccer.
Gatorade, with electrolytes to help replenish what's lost in sweat, carbs to help fuel your working muscles, and fluids to help you hydrate. Scientifically formulated so you never stop competing.
I do this for my town, my time, my time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Rehydrate, replenish, refuel. Gatorade.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
The Canadians win tonight over Panama and Concacaf Nations League. It's the Final Four. They will be playing for a trophy on Sunday here in Las Vegas inside Allegiant Stadium. Andy Petrillo, Christian Jack. We just had Stephen Vittoria. This is a semifinal game, but he said we're treating it like two finals. The job isn't done yet. We know that based on injury, they had to line up a certain way. Davies didn't start, comes in as a substitution. Do you like, though, what John Herdman is doing here with who he started and then how he managed the game?
Yeah, look, I think ultimately there's a lot of people that want to see Alphonso Davies play 90 minutes. It was so strange to see Alistair Johnson, who is usually an expected starter and finisher, to have to come off in a tense 1-0 game at that time. And I'm sure John Herdman is, he's juggling a lot of different aspects here in terms of not necessarily thinking too far ahead, but understanding you have to have these players on a protocol from club level and international level to not play too many minutes at that time. So it was a strange game in that sense, and that's why I don't think There's a lot of rhythm to it. But as I said earlier, I thought they managed it really well. Panama were decent, but I don't think they were. It wasn't a track meet. There wasn't an open game where it was an exhausting game. You can see Steven Vettori. It looked like he didn't even need a shower, to be honest. So it was pretty organized in terms of the defensive structure. So look, I thought overall, as I said, very composed game. One that will be very different to the game on Sunday. But this is a really special game for Canada. Be able to get to that on Sunday. And I think a few years ago, I think about the Gold Cup in 2019. I think it might have been maybe a game too far for them. They found a way to win a game that not necessarily would have been able to do that a few years ago.
Well, this team has been knocking on the door for quite some time now. Obviously, the confidence in topping World Cup qualifying is carried over here right now. But in particular in that midfield, we talked about it in the pregame show, Stephen Eustáquio and Ismail Kone really emerging as those two leaders in there. We did see Atiba Hutchinson get subbed in. John Herdman made it perfectly clear that if Atiba came in, it would be because it was best for the game. There was no emotion involved there. But when it comes to Eustáquio and Kone, how do you think they did?
I thought Eustáquio was excellent. And again, there's a lot of pockets of space in wide areas, and he would drop in when the fullbacks go high to be able to start the passes and move forward with the possession, those diagonal balls. I thought Kone got better. It didn't necessarily look like it was his best game for me as the United States arrived to the Mexican crowd here in Las Vegas, the USA. But ultimately, I thought Kone grew into the game, but he has to have more discipline in possession. And I think if he's going to be a reliable player on Sunday, they're going to have to do some work with him in terms of not being necessarily a maverick. It's okay for David or Larin to take some risks, but when he takes the risks in the position he's in, one missed pass here or one inappropriate thing he does there, and suddenly you can get burned. So I think he needs that a little bit more of a focus around his midfield play. But he'll be playing Sunday for sure.
I don't have a poker face, so I wasn't fibbing when I said there are a lot of Mexican fans in the stands, and you heard them booing.
It's wonderful, it really is.
The Americans as they took to the pitch. One more. Do you like how Herdman is lining up front with David, Larin, and Buchanan? Do you like the two? Do you like the three?
Yeah, I do like it. I think that look, the key man in all of this is Jonathan David. He gets the goal tonight, and what most people will end up talking about is Alphonso Davies. He just finds a way to be on the periphery a lot, but he shouldn't be. You know, you can make the case that he's the best player for Canada at the moment in current form. And, you know, he scored the crucial goal. And what he allows him to do in the front three is he can come deep and be almost that playmaker who can add an extra midfielder. His work rate off the ball does not get talked about enough. His pressing angles. And then when he wins the ball back, he allows the space to open up for Larin to take advantage of it. It's not a lot different to what happened in World Cup qualifying, where Larin was able to get a lot of the goals. So, look, Buchanan's pace is just very difficult to manage. And no matter whether it's Panama, Mexico, or the US, all of them will struggle to deal with the pace that Canada will bring on Sunday.
All right, maybe just because, you know, they're out there warming up, a quick little thought as well on just Mexico and USA.
Yeah, look, this is a very pro-Mexican stadium right now. It is the US, but they'll be feeling like a little bit like they're away from home. I still think that they're the better team, and they need to go out there and deliver. Now, there's a lot of pressure on Mexican media right now. They're all talking up. We're surrounded on either side of Mexicans, and this is a big game for them, and it's not always been the case. For Mexico, it's always been World Cup or bust. We know we can dominate Concacaf. Well, they haven't been there. They haven't been dominating. They lost the Nations League. They lost the Gold Cup. They were awful at the World Cup. And this is now a game they have to come out and deliver. And if they don't, then there'll be more problems with them. So there's a lot more pressure on Mexico than the United States. And I think the United States will really, really enjoy this.
Shout out to our camera operator, Nora, because yes, we are squished here. You can't see it based on her
elbows
superb
out
framing. No 6 feet distance here, that's for sure. Back to you guys in studio.
Thank you, you two. I was starting to wonder if they put the two of you up on the big screen at Allegiant Stadium for a moment when we heard the crowd erupt in a burst of, well, whether it's boos or applause for those two, that's to be determined. It depends on who you ask. Jimmy with the wry smile knows which one I'm leaning towards. They brought up Jonathan David. Let's discuss the goal, gentlemen. And we'll talk a lot about Jonathan David because it's not just the goal he scored. He had the assist. He drew 2 cautions out of the Panamanians. He was a thorn in their side today. But focusing on the goal, we had a great breakdown with you, Jordan, at halftime. Jimmy, I want to get your thoughts on the smart play, not just the finish, but everything that contributes to this goal.
Well, look, for me, as soon as that ball goes out wide, like, Kamal Miller just sets himself up perfectly, opens his hips up. He looks up. He makes eye contact with with Jonathan David. Jonathan David points where he wants that ball. And when a striker's asking you to play a ball in a certain area, they see something. They want it. They've got that. They can sniff out where they want to go and how they're going to score that goal. And as soon as he gets into that area, he can see out of the corner of his eye where the keeper is. And look, he doesn't kill it. He just guides it on goal, just passes it into the back of the net. But it's all about the communication. As soon as Miller opens up, he looks and he can see. They make eye contact and he's pointing. This is where I want that ball. Just play me in there and let him go, because he knew he was in full stride. And as a player that's got on the ball, you never want to break a man's stride once he starts getting forward. And he didn't. The ball was perfect for Jonathan just to slip home.
Absolutely. When you look at Jonathan David point and know he's switched on and he's already ahead of the situation, he's like, look, play in that space, I will get there. He says to Kamal, he says to Stachio, play him there, I'm running him behind. Look, and people talk about all the time, like, does the run make the pass or does the pass make the run? If he does not run in that spot, Kamal's not playing that ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So he forces Kamal to make that beautiful pass. Now, Kamal, you know my defender, I'm going to show you some love. To put the weight on it, Jimmy, on a wet grass on the surface, to have it that flows in between the keeper, that's perfect. But the run is really what dictates all of that.
And in that moment, Kamal's just thinking to himself, don't screw this up.
Don't hit it too hard.
Just guide it for him. It's Jonathan David. He will do the rest.
But it shows you the importance of when you're playing about communication and talking, pointing where you want that ball. It makes it so much easier for the individual that's on the ball. If I know where you're going to go and you tell me I want it there, I'll play it there because I know that you're ready and you're going. Rather than getting the ball and waiting for a reaction. It's always better that you communicate, and those strikers or those people that are making those runs, tell them where you want that ball, and they'll slip you through.
And quickly, my point is, yes, it's communication and pointing, but it's his body language. And what I mean by body language is he doesn't just do a nice little stroll into that space. As soon as it's played to Kamal, darts, straight through the lines. So for me, he made that goal himself just by his movement and anticipation.
Well, I know I'm preaching to the choir with the coach here, but that's why coaches always say, be switched on the whole time. You can't take a second off, because if Jonathan David's not perfectly in tune with that play, that goal does not happen. Let's talk about Alphonso Davies. He comes in as a substitute in the 61st minute. It takes him less than 8 minutes to make quite a substantial impact in this game. Jonathan David is going to set up this goal, but let's share some love as well to Scott Kennedy for forcing the steal initially and getting this all started.
Yeah, look, he wins the ball here perfectly, but it's a high press as well from Canada, which I like, getting all bodies forward, and then again, that man, Jonathan David, that slip pass that he does. But I just want to break it down quickly. If we look at it, as it's played, look how many guys are forward. You have Osorio there, Stachio, which is on the tail end of the screen right here. All these guys ready to press, right? As we play it through Panama, we go high forward. Kennedy is in the back three as we play it through. He's in the back three and he goes to win the ball, right? And he gets in that position. Well, we're just a little frozen here. But look, all I'm going to talk about is the front four as it goes. Perfect. Right? Everyone's hunting. Pause it right there quickly. Look how many white shirts are around the ball, right? Kone's in a position here. Kennedy's winning the ball here. Osorio just pressing. Eustachio is there. Larrea's there. Look at that. 5 guys in such a quick radius. Now when they win it, look what happens. Every coach, Jim, you could attest to this. You win it on one side, you look to the other side. Pause it right there. A lot of players would force right now and play Alphonso Davies. Best player on the pitch. You play him, let him run at him. Kone, what I like is patient, right? Slows it down, draws a player. As he draws him, boom, he has David in the gap. Now pause it right there. Just go back before he plays it. And it's when we talk about Jonathan David and what he's good at. Getting it in between the gaps. The gap would be the center midfielder and the center backs. Now he's in that pocket. And he's forcing a Panamanian defender to come and press him. But look, they give him too much space, which is the wrong idea. Now, for me, pause it right there. It's Alphonso Davies' touch. Right in that space. Perfect. As he takes it, he has one thing on his mind as we play it through. He can go hard and low across the keeper or top cheese, and boy, does that boy hit it. Straight top corner. I only know one left footer. He's sitting next to me that can hit it so sweetly the way he did just there.
And it's not me that he's talking about. Just to be clear, we're not talking about this guy. We're talking about Jim Brennan there. Listen, Alphonso Davies, he's an impact player getting back to full fitness. Obviously, it was great for him to get the goal. He's campaigning. He wants to play as a forward for Bayern and for country. Here are his thoughts after the game.
Alfonso, great night for Canada today. Win and go to the finals.
Yeah, I mean, it was an unbelievable game by the boys today. We knew coming this game. We had to play hard, we had to play strong, and that's what we did today. You know, we're happy that we get to win, and now we go to the finals. We keep the same mentality, the same energy, the same intensity, and move it to the next game.
We're talking about the next game. What expect for the next game for Canada? What rival do you want?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the two teams that are playing for the finals next they're two big teams. So you know, we're just going to watch the game and see who we play. For us, we're just excited to be here. We're excited to put on this performance for our country, and hopefully we can lift the trophy at the end of this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alphonso Davies obviously feeling very good, but understanding that the job is not done yet. Could have been 2, could have been 3 in this match. Canada really growing into this game towards the end. Spare a thought for Milan Borjan. It was his 74th appearance for country. He gets clean sheet number 34 in this match. And Jordan, a couple of times in that second half, he'd be tested again as Panama was trying to find their feet in this game. They were sort of without anchor at times in this, and they just wanted to snake their way back into the game. Milan made sure that that was not going to happen tonight.
Yeah, it was a strong performance. You always want your keepers to come, step up, make the saves that they're supposed to save, but he was confident. And the thing about this back line and with Borjan, there's just so much community. Everyone is working, everyone's getting the job done. You see, even here, I held my breath a bit, but stands his ground, doesn't guess, waits. And I think he was brave, I think he was great tonight.
Jimmy, your thoughts?
No, I did. I thought he was good. The only issue that I had tonight, and the one mistake that I thought that he made, was on the free kick.
Yeah.
I thought he came across a little bit too early, cheated a little bit, and that's why when he saved, he was going back to his right to get down, and that ball bounced in the middle of the park, where he should have maybe held his ground. He could have got it, or he would have went to his left and then parried it out to his left. But overall, I thought he had a good performance. He was vocal, controlled the box, and when he was needed, he done his job.
Well, in this game too, Jordan, you think that we even spoke about it before the match started, the idea of rest and rust and how Canada was going to be able to adapt and find their feet quickly. It almost goes without saying, but as a player, this must mean the world to Canada to have this game under their feet before they go against one of the 2 best teams in the region, regardless of whether it's USA or Mexico. Iron out those wrinkles tonight.
Yeah, for sure. Iron them out, but it wasn't perfect, but it was enough. I think it was more than enough. I think also, too, a weakness for Canada, especially in the World Cup, was not scoring enough goals. Getting in goal-scoring opportunities, but not finishing teams off. I think they finished off Panama tonight and scoring 2 goals in the way that they played and creating chances. I know that save that Laren had on the header, that could have easily been 2-0, so it could have been more for the night. But look, whoever Canada gets, USA or Mexico, going with the same game plan. Desire, working around the pitch. We highlighted on the second goal how many guys they're pressing, pushing forward. I don't think any team, either USA, KJ said it, USA or Mexico, wants to play this Canadian side. Athletic, dynamic, they have pace, they have confidence. I wouldn't want to play against them.
No, of course not. Look, that was a tough match tonight. And like we were talking about before, it's when you were in group stages, you can afford to lose one, okay, maybe draw, then you win. But when it's a match like this where it's a must-win, you cannot make mistakes. There's no game number 2. This is a game that you have to go out there and win. And then you've got players as well that haven't been playing recently or coming back from injuries who aren't match fit. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
It is an absolute team effort. And that's why in the second half, you could see we were losing our way a little bit. Fatigue was setting in. We were giving the ball away a little bit too easily. But you expect your subs to come on and continue that form and make it even better and see this game out. And I thought the substitutions were absolutely fantastic. I thought Thibault was great. I thought Kennedy, when he came on, he was very, very good as well. Hoylett with his experience, and then obviously Davies as well when he came on. He added something. They brought the energy, and all of a sudden you could see it just calmed down. They were organized, they're disciplined, out of possession. They kept the shape and good balance, and they won the game 2-0. And it's not always going to be pretty, but it's a game that you have to win, and you do whatever it takes.
Everyone was on the same page, and I'm going to tease my former gaffer here because he would always say, "There are no passengers." As he walked with his big chest into the locker room, he'd say, "No passengers, everyone contribute." And everyone contributed tonight for Canada. Right. Do you remember doing that?
All the time.
Okay.
I'm just surprised he fit through the average doorway. They must have been really wide.
The big chest and walked in. No passengers, everyone contribute.
No passengers tonight for John Herdman. Here he is, and we'll get his thoughts now from Vegas.
Great night for Canada today. Go to the finals.
Yeah, good start, good start. I think we knew this was going to be difficult today. They've been ready for us. They've been waiting 10 days. And I think our boys came through tonight with some real spirit, and they showed their quality. Clean sheet, 2 goals. It's a good performance.
You're talking about the good performance and the time you have to prepare this team for today. But right now, you have one more game and the finals. What is expect for Canada?
Yeah, there's a couple of days to turn this around. We'll have a few beat-up bodies there. That was a physical contest, but we needed that. I said they'll get forged in some fire today to get them ready for a final, and that was exactly the type of game we needed.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So we know the when and the where. We don't know yet the who. Canada will be playing for the Concacaf Nations League Championship this Sunday. That is a 9:30 p.m. Atlantic time start, 7:30 Mountain. Will it be USA? Will it be Mexico? We're just a couple hours away from finding out the answer to that. When we come back from this short break, we will head back out to Allegiant Stadium. Annie Petrillo and Christian Jack will tie a bow on what they saw in a great 2-0 win for the Canadians to continue to march towards USA and Mexico. This is Matchday Live, presented by CIBC.
It looks like we're headed towards
and many people's dreams of owning a home.
What's keeping you up at night?
I'm kind of stressed about my money situation.
Oof, it's stressful to talk about.
Oscar, come here.
Here's your financial stress companion.
She definitely helps. It's never too late to start.
Good portfolio.
With saving for my first down payment.
To play. It's something that's in us from the very beginning, and something we take with us on every step of the journey. When we have no words, it gives us a way to speak. When we are still finding our way in the world, it gives us somewhere to belong. And no matter who we are or where we come from, it gives us the right to dream.
Christine Sinclair as she scores at her 5th World Cup. Alfonso Davies!
It's time to celebrate the game we love. It's time to play.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
The numbers after 90, Canada, of course, winning this semifinal by 2-0. 9 shots from Panama, 4 on target compared to just 7 and 3 from the Canadians. 4 points more possession for the designated home side. 5 offsides combined, 3 from Canada. 27 fouls in the match, including a red card as VAR intervened to send Eric Davis out of this match, and he will miss the bronze medal game on Sunday. Let's head back to Vegas for some final thoughts from Andy and KJ.
All right, thank you, Jenkins. Well, they just tried to start a USA chant in here, but the Mexican fans were not having it. They completely booed them out of the building. Goalkeeper Milan Borjan, I want to talk about him for just a moment. By the way, any Ted Lasso fans out there? Mo Judy Lamour, he plays Van Damme in Ted Lasso, the goalkeeper. He's here. I don't know, maybe he
Did you get a hug? I know you're a goalie hugger.
I am the unofficial president of the non-existent Goalie Hugger Club, and I most definitely got a photo with him. And perhaps you can learn a couple things from Milan Borjan. This was also a goalkeeper coming on in. As we know, his team, Red Star, said they were not going to use him anymore. He was completely rocked. We talked to John Herdman about it. He's now going to be on loan in Slovakia. But what did you think of him being able to have that type of confidence to come out and still look as great as he did?
Look, I thought as usual he was very solid. You know, I think that what something may not have got really put on the broadcast too when you watch it live is just his leadership qualities. You know, he's always talking to his defense, always making sure that they're understanding their positioning. There was a couple of moments where Canada got caught out in a transition, one where Tejan Buchanan had to come back. And Milan Borjan's on the edge of his box, pointing and communicating to those people. And that's really important. You know, this Canadian team is growing and evolving in so many areas, but they're still very young. And there's still quite a lot of, in terms of passive communicators a lot of the times. And you need that strong communicator, and he's certainly that. And I thought he made some big saves when he needed to be. Not world-class saves, but, you know, very comfortable saves. He was there when he needed to be. And look, he's an enormous presence in that dressing room. He's also a winner. You alluded to the issues he's got right now at Red Star. What's happened at Red Star is that they've won with him in net, and it's all going to be about players who know how to win when it comes on Sunday.
All right, that's what Canadians are going to try and do on Sunday. How pumped up should the nation be for this? Because I know we keep saying it, 23 years, the last time the men's program lifted a trophy. This is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a really big game, a really big deal for the sport in the country. I hope the country really opens up and wraps their arms around it, you know, follows us on One Soccer, reads the tremendous writing that a lot of people are doing. You know, we're sitting here right now in true football culture. You know, we're surrounded by, you know, dozens of Mexican broadcasters live back to Mexico. You know, U.S. broadcasters everywhere. You know, 70,000 plus here. This is what football means to these countries. And my hope and dream is that one day in my lifetime we'll be like that in Canada. We're here, we're representing, and it's a pleasure to be here. I just hope everybody back home who's followed this team understands what an opportunity this is for Canada. This is an enormous game. It's about winning trophies at the end of the day in sports. Yeah. You know, I've had the fortune to interview so many players over the years, and that's what keeps people together. You know, they play a lot of games, but you don't play a lot of finals. And when you get a chance to win something, you know that you want to take that opportunity when you've got it. And now Canada has earned it, they're in it, and now they got to go take it.
When we had Victor Montaliani on our show, One Nation, I also asked him about the Kings of Concacaf. He said the same thing. In order to be in that same stratosphere, even of Mexico and USA in this region, is to have sustained success. Yeah. The Canadians have been on a roll since World Cup qualifying. We know this. They've always kind of been in that fight. But you're right, it has to culminate with a trophy.
You have to do it. You know, in order to be a king, you've got to wear the crown, right? And they've got to wear the crown now. This is their moment, right? It couldn't have been better coming here, playing either against the U.S. on U.S. soil or playing in a very pro-Mexican time. They are ready for this. They showed they were ready for it in the World Cup qualifiers. They showed they were ready for it in the Gold Cup. I'll tell you this, they will not be intimidated. Win, lose, or draw, they are ready to play in that moment now, and that is what Canada should be excited about. Then the outcome will take care of itself, but we will not be watching 11 Canadian players on Sunday be intimidated by whatever is facing them.
Their mentality, we know this, they're very strong. Kamal Miller, they said they're calling themselves the golden generation. Alphonso Davies has played in CONCACAF Championship finals. He's played in certain types of environments. Now Alistair Johnson, Celtic, Rangers. We know what that's all about. We've talked about the players here who have lifted trophies. They have a taste of that. They know what that means. Is this a team as well that, you know, you feel people are starting to take seriously?
Yeah, definitely. Ultimately, you know, a lot of those players have made the jump to Europe and been quite fortunate to go into areas where winning every game matters. They've got to win. You know, most of them are at the top of the table competing in Champions League games and trophies. Some of them are in battles in the relegation zone, but they're still games of ultimate meaning. Something that North American football and culture, aside from the CPL, is certainly in MLS, is struggling with. The ability to make every game matter. You look today at that Canada team, and apart from Kamal Miller, every one of them is owned by a European player. Every one of them is owned by a European club. This is where it needs to go now for that mindset to change, and they've been fortunate to go there. Same with the Mexicans, same with the United States behind us. That's how we grow this country forward and progress with the sport, and to be ready for games like this on Sunday. Like I said, win, lose, or draw, depending on whether they're good enough or not, one thing we will not be questioned is whether they're ready.
Kamal Miller's about to get himself a nice teammate that he could learn from, Lionel Messi. Let's send it back to studio.
Well, thank you, Andy and KJ. Tea and honey for both of you, and don't be screaming at each other in the Uber on the way back to the hotel either, because it is so loud at Allegiant Stadium. Let's take the baton and carry this conversation. We'll dive into USA and Mexico and your particular memories with the Gold Cup. But what does this match actually represent for Canada? Because we talk so much about the journey to get to the World Cup. They didn't get out of the group stage. They didn't have that big moment where the stakes were incredibly high. This is a final, Jimmy. You have worn that crest for this country. You understand what a final means. What are these Canadians in store for on Sunday?
Look, when you play for this national team, you want to win something. You want to have a legacy that's left behind and hold a trophy saying that, yes, I've actually won something. Now, when you look at it as for the World Cup, yeah, they went through qualifying to get to a World Cup, but you don't win anything. For the Gold Cup, you qualify to get to a Gold Cup, but you have to go through the stages to win something. And now they're in a final. This is their opportunity to have a piece of silverware with their name on it that this whole country wants to see you win. So this is what they've set out to do from the get-go, is they want to win something. Now you're in the final, go get it. It's there for you now. Now let's see what you've got. And for me, on paper, they're one of the best teams I think we've ever had in this national team program. And they're good enough to win something. And now they've just got to make sure that they show up on that final, and I'm sure they're going to win it, because you can see the hungerness and desire that they have right now as a team.
There's quality with this side, no question. And when they're qualifying for World Cup, it's about context, right? I think for a lot of these players that are 25, 30, 35, whatever it might be, playing in a World Cup for Canada is a pipe dream, or it would seem like a pipe dream. So that was a success. But look, having that hardware, having that, hey, I won Nations League in 2023 in 30, 40 years, you're telling your grandkids this is something concrete. Because you could talk about, yes, this is the golden generation, which I agree, but not having something concrete to put your name to be like, I was a part of this team, that's another question. So Sunday is the day. I don't want to put pressure, but this is what the situation is. So everyone's behind this team and they know where you come from. If you've been following football in this country for a while, you know that there's been talent, but still putting your name down to something, and that's what Sunday means.
Well, we've been seeing the pretty incredible pictures from Las Vegas, and that doesn't change anytime USA or Mexico plays. I think if it's a Canada-Mexico final, it's probably going to feel a little bit more full, but then if it's Canada-USA, you're getting the rivalry, you're getting everything that this country loves, regardless of your favorite sport. Canada-USA is always an incredible occasion. But we're literally seeing the hordes, the thousands of people. Talk me through the atmosphere, Jimmy. What is Canada up against in terms of the 50,000 other supporters that won't want Canada to win that game?
Yeah, look, it's difficult, especially when you play against the Mexicans, because the Mexicans, wherever they go, they sell out. And they make it so difficult in that stadium, and they put so much pressure on their team. And it's almost like a 12th man. The atmosphere is electric. And I remember in the Gold Cup when we played against Mexico, I think we've only had maybe a couple thousand in the stand that were Canadian, and the rest was all Mexican. And it was so difficult. But when you played against the States, it was a little bit different. That rivalry was a little bit different as well. So, I mean, for me, I'm hoping that they play the Americans. It'll be a little bit different atmosphere. But the Mexicans are such a good team, and they're very, very tough, especially when their fans are on top of them that day.
Jordan, do you have a specific memory about a raucous crowd that you've faced as a player in your career? Because you've been all over the place. I'm sure you've been in some hostile environments.
I mean, not as hostile as Azteca or playing with the Mexicans, but for sure. And people think it doesn't play on your ability to play, but it does. Like, you hear fans when they're talking about you a little bit. Sometimes it makes you laugh, but sometimes you're like, oh, man. And it kind of jolts you a little bit. I think for Sunday, though, I think everyone on this Canadian side has their head down and they know what they need to do. I know when they played Morocco in the World Cup as well, they were hearing noise as well. Like, I'm not saying that they're used to it, but I think that they're expecting it and they know that it's coming. And I think everyone's focused and they're ready to prove what they can do.
In that, you have to think, and KJ brought up a really good point, where this team now is European owned for the most part. Everyone's playing their trade in those big atmospheres. Alistair Johnston got a very good education this year at Celtic about what those big occasions, what those derbies really mean. And it just goes to show that you can hear them say it, Jimmy, but this isn't a team. Like, they're almost ignorant, like willfully ignorant. They're not afraid anymore.
No, they're not afraid. And that's what you want to see. You want to see these Canadian footballers understand what it means to represent a club where you have to win something. And that's the difference too. When you're in Europe, and you know this as well, every game means something. You could be fighting for relegation. You have to win. You could be fighting for a championship. You have to win. Every game means something. And it's a little bit different here in North America, where, you know, you might not be making a final, or you might not be making playoffs 15 games left in a season. Whereas over there, every game means something. So the players are starting to experience this and know that we have to win every time we step out in that pitch, because it means something.
Not a walk in the park today by any means, but it was an important step that they had to take. They had to get this 90-minute performance done if they were to compete on Sunday. And now they have days to prepare for what will be one of the biggest games that they have ever played as a country for this Canadian men's national team. 2-0 Canada wins over Panama in the semifinal. Their opponent to be determined, and that is what we will discuss when we come back. With a spotlight on the U.S. and Mexico, who do we prefer from a Canadian perspective? Who should be the favorites tonight? How they have fared in the past? It is all about this series. The U.S. are on a 5-match unbeaten run against El Tri. More on the second semifinal when we return to Match Day Live, presented by CIBC.
Canada men's national team on One Soccer is brought to you by the Toyota Corolla family.
At Toyota, our lineup of electrified vehicles is always growing. We're evolving the ways we move so that every Canadian has a choice towards a more sustainable future. One that includes the all-new, all-electric Toyota VZ4X. Because every electrified vehicle we build at Toyota brings us all closer to a better future.
Degree 72-hour non-stop protection. Antiperspirant with motion sense. Tested to the limit. Degree keeps working when others stop.
Life's better with extra space. Space for family. Space for memories. Space for you. Try 4 weeks free. Access Storage, proud partner of Canada Soccer.
This match is brought to you by CIBC, Canada Soccer's lead partner.
It looks like we're headed towards
And many people's dreams of owning a home.
What's keeping you up at night?
I'm kind of stressed about my money situation.
Oh, it's stressful to talk about.
Oscar, come here.
Here's your financial stress companion.
She definitely helps. It's never too late to start.
Good portfolio.
With saving for my first down payment.
Think you've seen tough? You've seen nothing. When you're absolutely drenched and still take the final shot? Not even a challenge. Playing extra time under the beating hot sun. Hardly sweating. When the wind's so chilling it cuts to the bone? Now we're getting somewhere. Playing in Canada's tough. We're not sorry about it. Want to beat us? Come on. We're made for this.
Thank you, Canada, for making dreams come true. We're with you all the way.
Allstate and its 900 agents proudly support Canadian soccer at every level. Visit allstate.ca.
It is the United States of America and Mexico meeting once again in the Concacaf Nations League Finals. What a thrilling conclusion we saw back in 2021. It took extra time, but the Americans would prevail by 3-2. The 76th meeting between the U.S. and Mexico, going all the way back to 1934. The all-time record for the U.S., 22-36. And 17. In terms of the spectacle of men's football in CONCACAF, this is the very top of the list, USA and Mexico. Jordan, I have the teams in front of me, and I just want to highlight for you that Arsenal's Matt Turner starts in goal for the United States of America. Just giving a little Gunners love in there for you.
Thank you.
Arsenal. And with that, let me pivot to a much different perspective. That's the reaction I was looking. We got to go quick here, Jimmy, but if you are John Herdman, you're not going to publicly say who you prefer, but in the back of your mind, you have a preference. Who would you prefer to see Canada play on Sunday?
The States.
Unanimous? You think Mexico?
It is. He convinced me actually off air. It has to be the U.S. Just because I think even though there's turmoil in Mexico in terms of their manager and whatnot, but playing the U.S. is not as hostile as playing the Mexicans.
Crazy.
What would you put? And look, now this is the beauty. But now until Sunday, everyone's going to be asking themselves, how do they do it? Are they ready? Can they get it done? Let me ask you point blank: is Canada ready to win a trophy?
100% they are. This is a squad. I mean, we've said it from day one. They've got everything that you can ask for right there with this national team. The players, the confidence, the belief. There's nothing stopping them but themselves right now.
Jordan, you agree?
I agree. It's unanimous. They're ready. It's just they got to take care of the moments.
And now we have to figure out who they're going to play. USA or Mexico, Allegiant Stadium, nearly a sold-out crowd in Las Vegas. That match coming up next. This is Matchday Live, presented by CIBC.